Hi there, this is LoveVFX for LoveVFX, and I'm here with Jenny Scheffel, who is a freelance lead compositor from Germany. How you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
So I have a few questions prepared for Jenny. What is the part of your job that you're most passionate about?
As a lead, definitely the people. So I do get a lot of juniors that you get to train up, and there's ever so often there's one. At the moment, to be honest, there's a lot of juniors that just studied it and learned it, and they come out as a ready-to-work artist, and they're doing it as their normal day-to-day job. But ever so often you get like a junior that's so passionate, and they just want to learn everything. Also a mid-level senior, they inhale everything you tell them, and then you see them progressing week to week. And that's definitely the thing that gives me the most passion, and the thing that like keeps me going at the moment, especially.
I've had a similar experience, and it kind of, at least it did for me, and I imagine it did for you too, or it does for you too. Every time you meet such a junior, it ignites something in you that you thought that was gone a long time, but then and it gives you energy to give even more of your information to those people who you really feel are appreciating what you give them, like the knowledge that you give them.
They also just ask you questions that you never even thought of.
Yeah.
And then you yourself get to like stumble across things that you might want to change in the future, think about differently, different approaches. So that's definitely...
Yeah, absolutely. We all learn at the same time, even if we're teaching and we're thinking about stuff, just like you said, that we've never thought of before. So
like there was a talk on Monday about mentorship from youre, Women in Animation, and that's like completely going back to that. That's video on demand as well.
Nice.
So where a mentor can always change to be a mentee at any point, and you just learn from each other. And that's like with, especially as a lead, and the relationship with juniors, mid-levels, seniors even, that's like constantly evolving, changing.
Yeah. Absolutely. You should always keep an open mind and always be like, if you enjoy the process, then it means, I think, that you always love to learn new stuff, no matter where it comes from. So let's go to the next question.
Yes, please.
What is the most challenging part about your job?
Staying on top of the game, not losing sight of what's next. I still haven't had a chance to try out Copycat, for example, and that's like a big failure. So not losing sight of what you have to learn, training, always watching tutorials, and that's still, in this part of my career, something I think is the hardest thing, because then you're always in a project, deeply involved and in a certain amount of stress level, but you still have to train on the side, get to know new techniques, maybe think about what's next. So that's definitely...
Absolutely. But we're taking a look at Copycat today. So that's going to be interesting. So the next question is, what are the 5 most frequent notes that you have given compositors on a shot?
That's a mean one.
Whatever comes to mind.
Well, for sure, black levels, the normal stuff, matching colors. Me personally, what I like to do is opening the shot itself from a compa, looking at the script, and that's what I tend to give actually in a day-to-day, maybe the most notes about it, because the main notes, they still do come mainly from the soup. So the notes that I mostly give are about structure and about thinking how to approach something, maybe not for this shot because it already works, but for the next shot, how to think about doing it more efficiently next time. So that's, I think, what I mostly talk about to my...
That's also an area where you're really strong in, and I really appreciate that side of you, because I'm also really passionate about having a good structure and having a good script that you can pass on to the next compositor. So let's go with the last question. What are your thoughts about AI-generated content and the future of films and TV shows 5 to 10 years from now?
That's the meanest one. Thoughts about AI. is that I can't judge it properly at this point. To me, it looks currently like it's never going to be good enough, and I do hope it's never going to be good enough to actually replace most of the parts that we as a company do. What I do hope is that at one point, road automation might actually be automated, and all of these things that come with it, or like the smaller steps that we can actually use it in a day-to-day to do the boring stuff that we don't want to do. Yeah. But then again, if I think about juniors like being trained up, they need to do the basics first to actually learn properly and to get to know what's important about a shot and about how to work. So I also don't know if it's good if we don't do the basics anymore.
Yeah, if the technology gets so advanced that at some point we say we don't need it anymore, let's skip it, and then at some point maybe it's not available in a particular job, or not that particular AI is available, and then you're left, or the junior is left there without a way to do it because he or she never learned it. Yeah.
I also don't want to ever become just a button pusher that gets like creative input from the client, and then we basically only have very, very evolved software that we just do activate 5 scripts and the AI takes the rest of it. So I think all of us think it's scary at this point, or at least to a certain amount. I do hope that it will evolve into something that can actually help us, AI, and that gets to be natural in our day-to-day workflows. But at this point, nobody knows. Not even the biggest experts here can actually properly predict it. They all just want to calm us down and think like, it's not your enemy, just get to learn it.
Yeah. We don't have another chance. We have to adapt and see what works and what doesn't, and go with the flow, basically. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.